Sometimes you just need to check in. And I'd like to thank everyone who did. Hi, and welcome to Quilt Meets World, where we have adventures in piecing and joy. I'm Russ. Come on into my sewing room. It's been a week. Uh, Everything important from the past week has been published. As everyone knows, I lost Percy on Friday. His health had been declining over the past, frankly, 2 years. If you remember, just over 2 years ago, we lost Jesse, and he went into depression. And then a little bit after that, he became radioactive because he had overactive thyroid, and he had various other little things going on. And every time that we had gone to the vet basically said, we got something that we can try to work with and stuff. But this time, basically after going through everything that had been going on for the last couple weeks, the vet basically said, I think it's diabetes. And she tried to do that whole hopeful thing of, let's see if we can do treatment. And I was like, what's the treatment? And she said, it's daily insulin shots, and it's a little bit of stress getting, the dosage correct and stuff. But once you got it right, then it's fine. And I was like, look, he's 14 and a half. He's had a great life. I can't put him through all this extra stress of me trying to pin him down on a daily basis to give him a shot, much less the stress of getting the dosage right, because who knows what that would do to him. Poor guy doesn't know what's going on. He just knew he wasn't feeling well, and there was, in my opinion, nothing really that could have been done. It would have, prolonged him a little bit more, but I just like to say, what was his quality of life? So the decision was made. It was not taken lightly. I was there with him. I stayed through every minute of it and bawled my eyes out, and was basically like, I am just taking a little bit of a break from things. I got the rest of my little bit of work done for the day and just checked out. I had to go pick up Riley from daycare. She's still halfway trying to figure out where Percy is. Mostly because Percy's not bullying her. Percy would, steal her bed, just like get in the middle of things, start trying to eat a couple of her kibble. I mean, seriously, it's only like 2 or 3 kibble. But Riley would look at me like, he's eating my food. So she's getting accustomed to this. I've had a few, rough moments where I'm like, I'm missing this. The whole, when I get home, I don't have anybody yelling at me, like, where have I been and all that stuff. In the mornings, I don't have anybody yelling at me, give me my breakfast and that stuff. So it's just getting reaccustomed to not having a cat. And I've had a cat for 14 and a half years. I did do the horrible thing. After I had put Percy's video together, I pulled up Homeless Pets Foundation's website, and I just looked at the cats. I knew intentionally I wasn't going to do anything, but I saw cod, tuna, and tilapia, which were a trio of kittens that were I guess litter mates and stuff, siblings, and like I knew that I couldn't because I don't think I can handle any more than two cats. But I was like, Riley would go bananas if she was got three cats. But I know with my upcoming travel plans, with the cruise in October, Stephanie's retreat in December, QuiltCon in February, and my niece's graduation in May, that I would be not doing any new adoptions a service by, having a couple months in and then going away for a week. That is not something that I want to do to the poor little kittens. So it's going to be at least next summer, which is a good healing time. It could possibly be even later. I have in my head, the rules. It has to be two gray cats, no more than two. And there's reasons behind that, but I won't go through those right now again. When the adoption happens in the future, I will probably tell that story again. So with me not wanting to try to be on, I made the decision that I was going to cancel my live. I put up the Percy video instead, and I went shopping. My friend Candace, she's like, let's just get your mind off of things. And I thank her so much for spending Saturday with me. We went shopping. I thought I was doing so well. The first shop, I ended up buying out of the sale room, so I got 30% off of that. The second shop, I didn't see anything that I immediately needed to have. There was stuff that I wanted, but I was like, I can pause for that. Third shop, I only intended to buy 2¼ yards of fabric, but I spent about another $100. But that last shop, yeah, I blew through well beyond what my budget was. But I had fun, and we went to Outback for dinner, lunch, dinner, whatever we want to call it. It was like 3 o'clock, and it was tasty. I hadn't had Outback in quite some time. I don't digest red meat very well, so like I don't get burgers often, and I definitely don't get steak often. So it satisfied me probably until mid-October. I'm gonna be like, I don't need any red meat for a while. So that was fun. Sunday, I just took a quiet, chill day and just relaxed, trying to get accustomed to the noises that aren't in the house anymore. And then as the house temperature raises and lowers, because, outside's temperature raises and lowers, you get those occasional little pops and everything. And I always have associated with those with Percy walking up and down the stairs. So I'll hear one, and for half a second, I'm like, oh, look, it's oh, wait, that was just a house shifting. Or it could just be Percy's ghost. I do not know exactly when I'm getting Percy's ashes back, because I think with Jesse, it took over a month after I just did the quick math, knowing when that happened. Actually, it wasn't over a month. It was just under a month. But they suggested that it might be this week that I get his ashes back. We will see. I felt so bad for the staff when we were going through what I wanted and stuff like that. I forgot to ask the appropriate questions, and I guess things must have slightly changed from the last time. And thankfully, I remembered to ask before anything happened and stuff. But yeah, I basically delayed the doctor like 3 different times because I was like, and I'm getting this and I'm doing this. But yeah, apparently the first time that I filled out the form, the option that I chose, I wouldn't have got his ashes back. And I was like, no, it's unacceptable. I need his ashes. He needs to be sitting next to Jesse and all that other stuff. So I will be getting his ashes back. I just got to figure out how long it's going to take. And I've already got plans. When Jesse had passed away 2 years ago, he had his pillow. And I had plans in my head that I was going to take his pillow and convert it into like a coaster to put his urn on. And Percy had his pillow, and the whole conversation in my head now is, once I get Percy's urn and I know the dimensions of both of them, I can take both of them and basically make the appropriate coasters so they have their pillow with their ashes and stuff. So that is on future Russ's plans. I don't know when I'm going to get around to it, but that is going to happen. Not a lot has happened. I want to thank everybody who has checked in on me. I received a couple emails. I have text messages from friends, and all the comments that y'all have left in the video. I want to thank everybody for your kind words. I have read through them all, but I haven't digested them all, which is why you haven't received your little heart next to the comments. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be going through once my mind is in a clearer mood and digest what everybody has sent. But thank you very much, everybody, for your kind words and support. Like I said, it feels weird not having two four-legged creatures in the house. We're down to one. But, you know, it's part of, I guess, the circle of life. You got to have that. I guess the thing that pulled my heartstrings the most was a little bit after that event happened. I was going through my phone and there was an article about The Neverending Story, which is one of my favorite movies. Growing up, I had seen all of it, but never in one sitting because it was always playing in the library. So I knew everything in the movie, but I had never seen it from beginning to end. So I didn't know what pieces were in what order on the screen until I finally got a chance to sit down and watch it from beginning to end. And there was an article that basically showed the parallels of Bastian's life, the kid in the school that's reading the book, and Fantasia, how things are evolving in Fantasia. And that's when the phrase, it has to hurt in order for it to heal, came about. And it was basically kind of paralleling Bastian having lost his mom and how like his dad never really came to terms with everything, and Bastian was still trying to not do the full coming to terms, understanding that things have to hurt in order for you to heal. So I can tell you that I've gotten the hurt and it's slowly healing every day. So I have been rambling. Normally I have a little bit of a structured, this is what I want to talk about, and today you are getting totally freeform Russ. And I don't know how much I like this versus my little bit of structure, but there was no way I was going to be able to come up with a full, this is what I want to talk about in this order and everything. So I apologize for the rambling, but thank you for your love and support and everything. So how was your week? I hope you guys had a little bit better than mine. So, what am I going to work on this week? Well, I haven't really decided. I don't have really much planned between now and Saturday because, yeah, I'm still trying to get some stuff settled. I have a litter box I need to finish cleaning out and uh, basically move into the garage. It's a litter robot, so it's a little bit too expensive for me to just toss. Uh, but it's also too bulky for it to just sit in the middle of the living room indefinitely. So I got to get that taken care of. I've got his cans of cat food I was able to donate to the Homeless Pets Foundation because they're always accepting anything unopened. They could not accept the open bag. I understand. Fully acceptable. I get it. But one of my neighbors, her cat will eat the food. So I need to get, basically, it's a 16-pound bag with probably about 4 or 5 cups taken out of it. So I got to get that over to them so that, their cat doesn't starve. I know their cat has plenty of food. So the next couple of evenings, I'm still working on, getting the house back in order. I will say Sunday, and that was a little bittersweet of that. I had not had a quilt on my bed. I've made at least several tens of quilts. I know it's been a lot more than that. I need to get them documented at one point, but I have had a couple quilts that I said, this is going on my bed, this is going on my bed, this is going on my bed. None of the quilts had made it on my bed. And Percy was the primary reason, because in his older age, when he would use the litter box, he would bring upstairs litter still attached to him, or his bottom might be wet because reasons in the litter box. There's been a couple times he's brought a dingleberry up, so brought a stain onto the bed. And then, all the cat fur and stuff. So I just was basically like, I know that quilts should be used, but I wasn't going to do that. I didn't want it to intentionally get damaged or anything. So I hadn't had a quilt on my bed. So this past Sunday, I put the first quilt actually on my bed, and it's the Socialites 2 quilt that I made almost 2 years ago. I was finishing up the blocks. And yeah, it's strange. I don't think I've slept under a quilt since I was a young child, with the almost finished quilt that Mom made. And I say almost finished because I guess back in the 80s, they attached, and she used polyester batting to the front quilt top front, and she didn't actually have a backing on it, so you can see all the seams, and it was all polyestered on it. Really would like to know what happened to that quilt, but never would ever figure it out. But yeah, so it's the first time that I had slept under a quilt. It was very cozy, and I'm like, I should have done this sooner, but it's also heavy. So I don't know what I'm going to do in the summertime when it's a few degrees warmer upstairs. But that's for future rest. I think that's just a whole roundabout way of saying I'm trying to get the house back in order with some of the stuff, to kind of, keep the memories of Percy there, but not have the constant reminders there. So if I can remove the litter box, if I can remove the food dishes and things like that, so that there's those little things. I mean, I'm going to find cat hair all over the place. I accept that. I am happy with that. But just that little bit of extra healing. So I'm going to do that during the week. And then on Saturday, I am going to continue with what I was planning on doing this past Saturday, which is putting the star blocks together for the graduation quilt. I have all of. Just grab one. I have all of the star units together, and I take 4 of these, and I can make a star block. So I'm gonna grab my pile, make sure they're still in order, and just, work on them Saturday morning with y'all as we chit chat and have fun. No asking about Percy, no asking how I'm doing and everything on Saturday. Those are the ground rules. But just have just a lot of fun getting through these, because once I have the star blocks done, all I have to do is lay them out and start sewing the quilt top together. I haven't decided if I'm going to try to start doing some of that on live Saturday. A Saturday, not that Saturday, but maybe the following Saturday. Or if I'm just going to do that on my own, because once things get too big, I can't handle it with the camera here, which I know you can't see that I'm putting my hand on my camera, but right here is the camera that you get the sewing machine angle. So I can do probably like 2 or 3 rows of it, but once it gets certain wide, it's like I don't have room to push things through. I have to push the camera away. So we will see what I do after that. It's going to be just basically how I feel and what I'm working on. I do know that coming up soon is the next Fort Worth Fabric Studio mystery quilt, which I have ordered my kit, which is why I had to buy that 2 1/4 yards of fabric, because that's the backing. And I do not remember when it's starting. I know that things are shipping the 15th, so I believe the mystery quilt starts the 22nd. So I at least have to figure out something to do on the 20th with y'all. And then after that, I'm going to do the Fort Worth Fabric Studio sew along with y'all, until I don't have time that I can do that. So anyway, I think that is going to be about it for today. Thank you for all the love and support. Hopefully this vlog was about as entertaining with my shenanigans as my other ones, because sharing my shenanigans is the highlight of my week. I had to come in here and say, I need to record my video. I need a little bit of normalcy. And I mean, what else would I be doing? Because heaven knows I have spent more than my shopping budget this month. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, please, if you enjoy what you are seeing. That is the easiest way to have YouTube suggest me out to other folks. They see the stuff that you are subscribed to, that you hit likes on, and they find other people that are similar interest, and they say, you might like this channel. And sometimes I pop up and I get a new subscriber, and that is always awesome. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and an awesome week. Until next time, stay happy, and remember, always measure your life in love.